Hello, guys, and welcome to another live stream. Please let me know if you can hear me so that we can go straight into our business for today. Okay, when you don't want plenty wahala of combing of hair, so let me know, please. So I'm trying to pull out. Yeah, the picture is right here. 18. So, guys, good evening, hello, and welcome to another live class for today. If to Stylish Naija YouTube channel, you're welcome. If you are a old subscriber, thank you so much for sticking around. So I'm just waiting. Yes, hello, Hetty Plus. You are welcome. So, guys, what we're going to learn how to cut today. Can you guys see it? It's a beautiful project. So we're going to be trying it out together. So I've actually done the top part before, but this inverted down part I've not tried it. So we're going to try it together. While thank you so much, Hannah, you are welcome. Thank you so much. So guys, so happy new month. This month, people have repent. Yeah, I'm to give you guys live streams back to back by God's grace. By God's grace, not by my own power. Okay. So last month I was so very busy. So I'm just trying to adjust my camera and then we are good to go. So if you're just joining us, you're welcome. Let me know where you're watching me from, guys. If you could share with me where you're watching me from. So I'm just trying to make sure that I get the table. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me know where you watch from. I would appreciate that. I want to know seriously. Okay. So, like I said, happy new month, guys. Yes, we thank God for the gift of a new month. So, last August, that was our live streams were not that very consistent. So, but I like I said, this month, this is a new month. So I'm going to try as much as I can this month. So, guys, you're welcome. Okay. So when you want to do that kind of overbust corset, so the first thing we're going to do, let's drop back and then we'll use the front. Wyla, wow, Wyla, thank you so much. Oh, God bless you. Thank you. Oh, that's so beautiful of you. Wow, thank you. God bless you. Wow, thank you so much. That will go a long way in buying data. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, While I appreciate that. I don't take that for granted. Thank you. God bless you. Big this month. God will open doors for you. The lines will fall onto in pleasant places in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So let's continue, guys. So much. I appreciate the support. I actually don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. God bless you. All right. So the first thing we want to do, we want to mark out a shoulder line. So this line is going to be our shoulder line. Okay. And then from that shoulder line, the next line you want to mark a bust point. Okay. I want to mark a bust point. So our bust point that we're going to use for today, we're going to use a bust point of 10 inches. Bust point, that's nipple point. And then the under bust, that's the under part of the bust point, we'll use 13. And then the waist for this dress, that's your belly button, we're going to use 7, and then the full length we're going to make use of 24. Okay, so these are all of the lines on my fabric, sorry, on my pattern paper. So I'll just mark them like this. I'll mark this. Okay, so can you see? So I'm just marking all of the lines. I'm just joining them together. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. That's nice. That's beautiful. It's very thoughtful of you. God bless you. I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate it like a million. Appreciate it. So nice. So beautiful. That's so sweet of you. So let's mark out the measurements we are going to use. So let's bust 36. So this is like almost like the regular measure normally use, except when I'm doing a plus size. bust is 36, under bust is 30, our waist is 34, and then the hem is 40. So these are the measurements. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to cut point, and then you're going to mark your shoulder measurement. You divide your shoulder measurement into, so 14 divide by 2, we have 7. We'll add half inch to it to make it 7.5, and then from that line we're going to come down by 1 inch. So when we come down by 1 inch, that line, we are now going to slant it. We just drop it into our shoulder line that way. And then from this line, we're going to half of our armhole. So like I said, my armhole is 16. I'll divide that into 2. I'm going to have 8. So I'll mark the 8 inches here. If there's at any point you don't understand what I'm doing, please let me know. I would appreciate that. This is a live class, okay? And then from that point, I'll mark it this way. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to check half of this line. Remember, it's 8 inches, so the half is 4 inches. So from that 4 inches, you're just going to mark this. So you can do it in two ways. You can just decide to mark it, or you can impute your bust circumference, okay? So for the bust circumference that we're using here, we're using 36. Divide that into 4, that's 9 inches. You mark it that way. And then we're going to use 1 inch for our dart, and then 2 inches for allowance. You mark it this way. So you take curve like this, and then you are just going to curve this. So you're going to curve this. So can you see? So most times I don't do that. I'll just like curve it out. But you're still going to get it. But it's better for as a beginner for you to know. So let me know, guys, where you're watching me from. Please, the sewing tutorial. The sewing tutorial. If you want to do the sewing tutorial, we'll do this tutorial during the day. We usually don't do sewing tutorial in our evening live stream. So I'll put that into consideration. I'll keep it. You understand? I'll keep the pattern. So that means we'll come back and sew it another. It might not be this week because I already have tutorials lined out, but it might be. I'll keep it. So since you say you want the sewing, I'm going to just keep it on the side. I'll keep the pattern. I'm not going to discard it. I'll just keep it, and then we'll use it. We'll do the sewing on our time live stream. Okay. So yes, so let's continue. So the next thing we do, want to add our bust pan here. So the bust pan I'm using, which is nipple to nipple, I'm using 8 inches. So you divide that 8 into 2. You are going to have 4 inches. 4 inches. You mark the 4 inches across all of the lines. Remember all of the lines we marked initially, which are our bust line, under bust, waist, and then hem or half length or top length, depends on what you call it. So from that point, I'm just going to mark this like this. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to take out my 1 inch dart. So that 1 inch dart, I'm going to come to my waist part. I'll take half inch to my right, half inch to my left, okay? So the next thing I want to do, that part, I just want to curve it that way. Can you see? The part where I'm really taking out the dart is around this waist part, okay? So the next thing I'll mark this like this, and then I will mark this way. Okay, so after doing this, the next thing I want to do, because I don't want my neckline to be too low, I'm going to use this 8 inches line. Remember our 8 inches line. So that 8 inches line is going to serve as my chest line. So I'm going to use it as my neckline for my back piece. Okay. So the next thing I want to do for that back piece now, I want to take out my full body measurement. So I'm using a bust measurement, which is 36. I'll divide that. Mamga, nice. Thank you so much. You're welcome. God bless you for joining. So I'm going to 9, which is 36, divided by 4, which is 9, and then I'll 1 inch for my dart, and then 2 inches for my stitching allowance. Okay, and then I'll come to my under bust, which is 30. That's 30 inches. Divide by, you have 7.5 plus 1 inch. That's 8.5 plus 2 inches, 9.5, 10.5. You mark that, and then I'm going to come to my waist, which is 34. 34 divided by 4. I'm going to, okay, yeah. And then I'll add my 1 inch, that the ones that I don't know. I'm just going to respect myself and then mark my sewing. And then the hem, which is 40 divided by 4 inch for our dart. I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll add 2 inches for the sewing. So for the down part, I'll add 3 inches, because if you notice, you see that that part is a little bit wide. Okay, so from that point, I'm just going to mark. I'll connect those lines like this, and then I'll connect this way. And then this is what where I am left with. Okay, so I'm just going to curve that one down. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I want to okay, I want to snatch the waist part. So for this part, what I have here left, I'm going to divide that into two, and then I'll mark it. So basically what I am trying to do, I'm trying to take out like 1 inch of again away from that waist part. So I'll take half inch to my right and then inch to my left. So it depends on how many inches I want to snatch. If I want to take out 2 inches, I'll take out 1 inch from here and inch from the front piece. But if I want to take out like 3 inches, I can take out 1.5 inches from here and then 1.5 inches from the front one. So it depends on what I want. So let's do 1.5, which is 3. So I'll take quarter an inch here and then quarter of an inch here. So this is optional. Everything I'm doing right now, it is optional. Okay, so you can decide not to do it. You can, depends on how much snatch you want, how tight you want pattern piece to be. So this is everything that we need for the back. So when I'm done with the front, I'll use for me to get that inverted hem, I'll use this front, that's I'll place it with the front and cut them together. So I'm just going to take this and then keep this on the side. So let's, before we go, let's cut out the back. So like I said, the back, it is an overbust, so you actually don't need this. So I'm going to just take this off, and then I'll keep my measurement on the table, and then I'll cut this off. So I'll keep this back to it. Okay, so now we want to do the front piece. So for our front piece, we're going to mark all of our lines. Osinachi, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you for joining. So the next thing we want to do, we want to mark out our, what do you call it, we want to mark out our lines, all of our lines. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a start line. So that line, this start line is going to be my shoulder line. And then from that shoulder line, I want to mark 10 inches. So that 10 inch is going to be for my bust point. Okay, so this is bust point, which is 10 inches. And then 10 inches is the under bust. And then we use 17. So I'm not adding a side start. So I'll use 17. And then the full hem is 24. Okay. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to just curve this line. That's, I said curve, not curve. I want to just rule all of these lines out. So I'm trying as much as to place them so that my ruler, it will be straight. Okay. So that's just what I am trying to do. This point, and at the end of the day, the down still got bent. It is well. So now let's continue. Okay, so now next thing we want to do, we want to add our shoulder line. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, please like the video. I would appreciate, you guys should like this video. It's only for like, check this side, this dot. Just touch the 3 dot and like the video. I will appreciate that. Okay. So now we're working on the front pattern. So for the shoulder, we're using the same measurement of 14 divided by 2, which is 7. And then we'll add half inch, which is 7.5. And then from that 7.5, you are going to come down by 1 inch. The S of doing this, why do we do it? Why do we do it? Because our shoulder is not straight, so that is why we do it. So you are going to connect that line, that slant, you connect it to line that way. So when you connect it, that's how it will look. So the next thing, you want to measure half of your armhole. So my own, when I measure half of my armhole, I'm going to have 8 inches. Okay, so that 8 inches, I'm going to mark it. I'll just put a dot at half of my armhole. That's when I measure the armhole round, I have 16. So that line, I'm going to use that line as my, what do you call it, my chest line. Okay, so now I can now call this my line, bust point, under bust, waist, and then the hem or the top length. So So the next thing I want to do, I want to come to this line. Remember this our line. You take half line. So that half of that line is, so I'm going to come in by like a quarter of an inch. Okay. So why am I coming in? It's because our front armhole is not is always we always take in a half our armhole. That's the front armhole because of the, what do you call it? So that your sleeves will lap. So that is why we normally take out a little bit of excess. That's just take out a little inch compared to the back. Okay. So the next thing from that point, I'm just going to place this and then hit this like this. Okay. So that's for the curve of the armhole. So the next thing we want to now want to add our darts. Okay. So for the dart, like we used initially, we used 8 inches. You divide 8 inches into two. We're going to have 4 inches, the nipple to nipple, or you call it professionally, it is called a bust span. Mark that 4 inches. I'm going to mark it across all of those lines. You can see the way I'm marking them. Okay. So when you mark them, next thing you're going to connect them with a straight ruler like this. You just rule it like that. Okay? So after ruling it, the next thing you want to do now, I want to take out our darts. Okay. So for this now, the darts that we're going to be using depends. Let me take a look at the picture again. So like I normally used to tell my students, when you are making a dress, take a good look at it. That will help you to know the pattern that you are going to use. Okay, Chinyere, you're welcome. Osinachi, you're welcome. So I'm just taking this paper, taking light. So I'm just, did it take light? There was no light even before I started. I'm using my inverter. There was no light, so that's it. So I'm just trying to take a good look at this. I think I can use the bustier pattern. I can use the shoulder. Let's try the bustier pattern. Pray it works. So you can see I'm changing to my pencil. So I'm going to come to this point. So for that, I want to take out a dart of two. Since it's a small, it's the size 36 is not really a big size. So I'm going to do a dart of, no, not 3 inches. Bigger bust with 3 inches. But for a 36 like this, I'm going to do a dart of like 2.5 inches. So that's okay. Sometimes if you how much you want, you understand how curved, that's it depends on how full you want cups to be. If you for this 36, now if I want the cups to be very full, I can do 3 inches. That's one, I'll do 1.5 inches to my right and 1.5 in my left. Or I can do 2 inches here. So let's do 3 inches. Let's make the cups. So that 3 inches, like I said, you can divide it into two, or you can decide to say, okay, let me take 2 inches to my right. Most times I always like doing this, and then one inch to my left. Okay. So everything will now be inches. So that 3 inches, I'm going to mark it. So you see, I switched to my pencil because I don't know. I just want to try out this pattern. If it will work, it's up to work. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I hope you guys can see it. It's not very obvious. So let's use our marker. Let's use our marker. But that one was not showing. So I'll mark it this way. So the next thing we want to do now, let's curve it. We'll connect. I want to create the cups now. So you see what I was saying? That cup now, because this side 2 inches, you can see it will give me a bigger cup. You get? Can you see? And then this side that is 1 inch also, you will connect everything. Also, connecting it to the bust point. Can you see? You see. So next thing you want to do now, we want to take this up because you can see it is an over bust. So it's a bust again. So the next thing we want to do now, we want to take this up because we're going to tighten this part. Okay. Yes, we're going to tighten this part. The next thing we want to do, you can see this part, you can see it just came down a little bit, so it is high. So from here, from this edge, we can decide to, let me use my pencil again. So from this part, we can decide to come down. Just you can decide to come down by 3 inches. Okay, so that's 3 inches. I'll mark my 3 inches there. I'll mark my 3 inches there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, before then, I'm thinking of doing like a double tightness for my pattern. I'm thinking, but I think let me not advance it so much for you guys. That will be easy. So the next thing I want to do now, from here now, from this point now, I'm just going to create like, you understand? I want to create like a curve. So it depends on how deep I want this part. And you see, depends on how deep. You can see that it came down very well. It came down like to almost like the this part. So what we'll do from here, let's extend this one by 2 inches. So some people normally extend by 1.5 inch. For me, most times I even extend more than 1.5. Me, normally, if I'm the one that is wearing the dress, I usually extend it like 2 to 3 inches because I don't want any part of my business showing. So that's what I normally do. So I've extended. So the next thing now, we're going to, so now let's check out the measurement. So we have like 7 inches. Do you get? So the next thing we want to do now, this part that we marked now, this part that we marked. So this is what we are trying to achieve. This part, this part. So that is what we are trying to achieve now. Okay. So now we're going to mark this part like this. And then we are going to mark it like this. I'm going to use my mark it, but it is always better to do this. You get? So I'll mark it. So at the end of the day, can you see the way I created that curve? Can you see the way I created that curve? I created the curve like this. So I'm using my hand first, and then I'll use my marker. So from this part now we have about 3 inches. So this part is like this. So now we want to tighten this part. You need to tighten it, or else, have you watched that this thing they used to cut things fall apart, everything will just scatter. Okay, so now since we have done that now, so we can actually curve this. So like somebody was suggesting we hope my hand is not blocking. We sew this. So I'm mark that way, and then I'm going to extend this line. Okay, so now when I extend this line, so the next thing I want to check this part. Even me, I want to check, so you can see that that part is low. That's 8 inches. So that 8 inches, what this one has, you get, this one is 8 inches. You can see it's showing the cleavage. So that's like 8 inches. That's this part. Okay, the next thing we want to do now, we want to tighten this part. Okay, so to tighten the part, I'm going to use what do you call it, 0.75 to tighten it, because I need it to be tight. Okay, so from this point, so this is 0.75. See it here, it's more than half inch. Can you see? It's this line that is, so you can see. So I've marked that one there. So this one now I'm going to come like this, and then I'm going to mark it here like this. Can you see the way I'm placing my tape? I hope my hand is in the camera. I'll place it like this, and then I'm going to mark it. Can you see? I'll mark it this way, and then mark this one here. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, because we want it tight, so we want to create a curve. Let it meet this curve. Can you see? So this will help us to like tighten that chest area. Can you see? I hope my hand is not covering the camera, so you can see just creating that curve. So this will give us a beautiful over bust. Can you see? And then this one, you're going to take this. I'm going to take this and place it like this, and then I am going to curve this out like this. Okay, yes, I've succeeded in doing that. So this part, if I feel that this part is not tight enough, I can tighten it. So for this part, I can tighten it a little bit. You understand? So in order for me to tighten it, initially I did not add what do you call it, to the length. I did not add to the length of my dress. But if I want to tighten this part again, I can just take out like half of an inch here on this side. You understand? And take out half of an inch. So this one is optional. So that half of an inch, this is what I'm just going to do. I'm just going to blend that like this. Can you see? So it's optional, so I can decide not to do it. I'll just leave that. So we are done with this. So the next thing we want to do now, we want to take out our full body measurement, and then we do a tightening at the waist. Okay. Thank you so much, Sylvia. You're welcome. Thank you, Martha. You're welcome. So God bless you. The other person that wrote in Arabic, I'm sorry, I can't read that. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add our full measurement. So we're using 36. Remember, 36 divided by 4 with 9 inches. And then I'm going to add my tightening. You can see it here. So I add the 1.5 of my tightening here. And then I'm going to add my stitching allowance. So this is an overbust corset. So definitely the back. Okay, the other one I forgot, the back piece. I did not cut out the back. So I'm just going to use 2.5 inches for my stitching. Why am I using 2.5 inches? Is because so that it will be able to accommodate whatever slice and trim I want to do. So that is why you can decide to use 1 inch. Some people they use 1 inch. The truth of the matter is that I don't know how they do it. So everybody just use what works for you. Pattern that you have tried that works, use it until you learn another pattern and you improve on it and then you adapt. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you to stick to one. No, you evolve. All right. So the next thing we want to do now, I'm going to come to this part. So okay, yeah. So I'm going to come to my under bust. Now that was the first this thing. Wow, this network, like seriously? Okay, the volume is still, yeah. I think it was actually the network because my microphone is still on. So I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? So we'll continue. I hope. I don't even know where it got stiffed. Mm. Okay, okay. Please kindly recap. The video was still okay. Which part? Please let me know the part where it stopped so that I can go back very fast. Let me know where did it stop? What part it became still? Even me, I noticed it from my end. What part? So let me just know on the comment section, so that I will explain from that part again. I hope it's not very far. Okay, so I'm waiting for you. Just type it in. Let me know where did I stop. From which part did the video get hook? Let me use the village English. So please, I'm waiting for somebody to let me know so that I can continue the parts where it stopped. Okay. Okay. So while I wait, let me just continue. Okay, let's see. Okay, at the armhole where you were adding the dart, like seriously. Okay, where I was adding this dart. Okay. So no problem. It's not very far. Okay, so like I said, this armhole part, you can decide to tighten this armhole area a little bit. So you can decide to use like half of an inch. That's like half of an inch from this point, and just blend that into the neckline areas. This one is optional. Okay, so after that, the next thing you will want to do, want to take out the full body measurement. Okay, so for the full body measurement, you are going to come to this part like this. You measure your bust measurement. So our bust is 36. So you divide that into 4. We have 9. So you are going to place your tape here and check what you have here for this tightening. You'll bring that back into your pattern. You mark it and then you add your stitching allowance. So like I said, for my stitching allowance, I use about 2 inches. Some people use one, you understand? Some people use one, but I use that because most times I just don't want to get into any problem while I'm working. So that's for that. And then I'm going to come to my under bust area. My under bust is 30. I'll divide that into four, which I have 7.5. I'll mark it. And then I'll add my dart. Remember our dart of 3 inches. I'll place that back and then add my 2 inches sewing allowance. I'll come to the waist also. My waist is 34. I'll divide that into four and mark it here. And then I'll add my dart. You can see it. And then add my stitching allowance. Okay. And then I'll come to the hem. I'll divide that into four, which is 40. I have 10. And then I'll add my dart. And then I added 3 inches. Remember for the back also we added 3 inches because we wanted it to be, because it is wide. So that's all that I did. Thank God that somebody was there. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this out first, and then before we create that inverted hem. So I'll cut this out like this, okay? So the next thing we want to do, I want to create that inverted hem. So in order for us to create that inverted hem, the best way, the best thing I would do to respect myself is I'm going to open up my pattern this way. And then, so let me show you guys. I'll open up my pattern this way. Let's see. You can see, so see the inverted hem. So I'll open up my pattern and then I am going to come up a little bit. So I'm going to come up. So okay, yeah, I'm going to come up. Before when we're doing a curve M, we'll come up on this side and then curve it. So this one now, we're using this down part, which is 24. You understand? So the next thing I want to do now depends on how many inches. I can decide to come up by 2 inches or 2.5 inches. So 2 inches will do. Okay. So I'm going to mark 2 inches. So why am I doing this? Because this thing, if you don't do it very well, you're going to end up cutting it in such a way that even you are not going to like the outcome. So you can see what I am doing. So you can see from that point like that. So from that point you can see I'm just using my free hand to like work on this, okay? To like work on this from this down, just work it up like this and then create that curve, okay? So I think I've created the curves. I think I like the curve of what I have. I like what I have. So now I can close back my pattern. If not, if there's a way I'll cut it, it's not going to make sense. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to use my pattern curve now to create that curve. And if you notice, I've not done the tightening. So I'm going to place my pattern curve this way, and then I am going to curve this. So I have to be careful because if I'm not careful, you notice now this part is not well curved, it's not well rounded. So I'll use my curve. So I've curved it. So the next thing now, let's tighten our part. You remember we were using we use 1.5 inches for the back. So now what you are going to do, you are going to come to this part is your waist area. So I want to take out another 1 inch from here and then half inch from this side. So what I'll do, I'll check what I have here. I'll check the midpoint, I'll mark it. I can decide to do it that way. I can decide to do it in multiple places, okay? So for this, I'm just going to go with this. So I'll mark 3.5 here, which is the center. I'll mark that 3.5. So when I mark that 3.5, note, can you see the way I'm placing my pattern curve? I'll slant it. You understand? Can you see the way I slanted it? I did not mark it straight. For the back one, I marked it straight. So I'll take another 1 inch of that out from here. So I'll take half inch to my right and then half inch to my left, okay? So when I do that, I'm going to take this, I'll just blend this into my pattern this way. Can you see? Just like basically I'm taking out another dart. Can you see? And then remember this part, I want to take out half inch from this part. You might think it's negligible, but I'll just take a quarter of an inch to my right and then quarter of inch to the left, okay? On the waist part, note, because it's the waist, that is what you are trying to tighten. I will mark it this way and then I'll connect it like this, okay? I'll mark it this way, and then I would connect it this way. So you might think it's negligible, but it is not, okay? So that's that. So we are done with our pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back my back pattern, okay? So for the back pattern, we want to take out our corset. You know, we're doing a corset back. So for that, I'm going to take out 2 inches from my measurement. So just that 2 inches, I'm going to mark it across all of my lines, okay? And then I will use my straight ruler to mark this, and then I would cut that out. So like I said, I'm not throwing this pattern away. We're going to sew it. So I'll cut that. So before I continue, I want to use this for my back first. So I want to cut this out. So I want to cut it with the back. So that is why I'm placing it like this, okay? So that I can cut it. So this one I have to be careful. So that's, you can see the back. Can you see the way the back looks? It looks great, right? Beautiful. So let's open our front piece and see it first before we continue. Yes, you can see the curve is the curve is perfect. So now we can now go ahead and cut out our pattern. So for this pattern, most times if you have been following me, you know I normally cut like half inch above. I'm just going to cut this way. I'll cut this way. So most times when I cut, I normally open and look. Can you see? You see the beauty? Can you see the beauty? So the next thing we want to do now. So this pattern was okay that we used. It was the best pattern. So I'm just going to curve this out like this. Remember, we did a little bit of tightening at that part. So this part, this one very important. This over bust, or else, like I said, everything is just going to fall apart. So we've cut that part out. So the next thing, we are going to cut this part out. So guys, all of you that joined me for our tutorial today, thank you so much for joining. We have now come to the end of today's class. So tomorrow during the day, I'm going to be doing a day tutorial. So like I said, our daytime tutorial is where we sew. So tomorrow, I think we're just going to do it like a basic top or a basic skirt. But in the evening, we're going to come back for our pattern drafting. All of the classes that I've missed, I'm going to make up for all of them this month, okay? So our season is coming. So these are all of my pattern. Can you see? You can see. So let me just take the extra ones out. So this is all of our patterns. Can you see? You see the way they are. And then this is the front one. So and then this is our back one. So thank you so much, all of you that tuned in tonight. God bless you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our tutorial. So let me just say, Wyla, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. God bless you all. Bye. Yes. Kumata Chinyere Sinachi Etsy Plus. Thank you. Mamga. Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.